Sometimes it's hard being the little guy in business.
I am out here for you. You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you.
You feel like it's hard to compete with the marketing budgets, or how do you hire the best people when somebody else is got more money to put into it? And so
Be ferocious. You be relentless.
today we're going to focus this video on what are your advantages as a small business owner, so that way you can lead with those as you position yourself in the marketplace. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you can get notified every time we release new content. I'm Amy Walker. I am a client acquisition specialist, and my job is to help you find the simplest path to consistently finding your dream clients. So before we jump into big business versus small business, what are your advantages? I want to know from you, when a client works with you, what is the number one advantage that they get? Go ahead and tell me below in the comments. You guys, I get it. Sometimes it is challenging to be the small business owner. Like, for example, if I want to create a video on my YouTube channel and I want to talk about marketing strategy, I can't use any of those tags because the big companies with the big budgets and the big followings are going to nab up all of those viewers and I'll never win. And so I have to pick these like subcategories and subtopics. When it comes to hiring, I can't put out the payroll packages and the benefits that other big companies have. And so sometimes it feels like there's no way for the small guy to get ahead. But in reality, there is no other place I would rather be in business than being this small business owner. There are some very clear advantages in areas where we are killing it and our big business competition cannot keep up with us. And I think the key to winning in small business is understanding those areas so you can narrow in on them, focus on them, and educate your clients and your prospective team members on why they should work with you. Number one, of course, we have got to start off with relationships. When you're dealing with a big company, there's very few people inside of that organization that really know who you are as the customer. There's even fewer people who are really invested in your results as the customer. And in a small business, that is just simply not the case. You know who your clients are, you're aware of their challenges, you're aware of their successes and their wins, and so those relationships become very tight-knit. And in a world of a lot of automation, I find that many people are getting tired of that and they're searching for ways to feel more important to the people that they do business with. I mean, think about it. If you work with me, I am so excited about your wins and your success. Sometimes I care more about your business than you do. Now, I want you to care too, but that's the nature of the relationship. Whereas if you were working with a large company who has a book of business of hundreds of thousands of small business owners, they don't know your name. They don't know what your specific situation is, and they're more moving you along a conveyor belt than necessarily having very tight relationships. Even though you might have a relationship with like the salesperson or somebody who's your account manager, in general, it's not quite as tight and it's not quite as connected. So I think this is one area that we really need to lead with and foster those relationships, build them, educate people on why that matters so that they'll pick us instead of the big guy. With regards to hiring, okay, you might not have the benefits package that the bigger competitor has, but here's what you do have: the ability to create an amazing culture. People will stay in jobs that don't pay as well if they love what they do. I mean, think about that. You spend more time at work than you spend doing anything else in your life. And if you love the place where you work, you love the people that you work with, and you feel like you're a valuable contributor, you tend to stay and go the distance with that organization. And so the way that we compete is we create an amazing culture and a place where they can win. Now, we want to, as much as possible, create opportunities for growth, but it can be challenging because inside of a small business, if somebody wants growth opportunities, at some point you're like, but that's me, as the business owner, like, I don't see how we can create unlimited growth. And so what we have to create is unlimited opportunity for the person to grow and develop their skill set. It doesn't always have to be working up a hierarchy in the corporate ladder, in the corporate structure. Sometimes it's just really having a culture where we develop the talent that's on our team and help them become better employees, help them become more valuable to the company. The other great thing about being a small business is as your employees create more value for the company, you can directly compensate them based on how they're helping the company grow. So if you're looking at hiring and thinking, well, how do I get the good people when I don't have the benefits package? Focus on culture, focus on developing your individuals, and focus on compensating them as they bring more growth to the business. All right, if you are liking this content, go ahead and hit that like button. And let me share with you my next benefit to being a small business owner. Number 3 on my list is the ability that you have to meet the client's needs. A lot of times in a bigger company, it's very structured, and one change that you make might affect several different things. There can be this ripple effect. So when a client is not having their needs met, sometimes it's easier to just say, let's let the client go, than it is to try to change processes to meet the client's needs. Whereas in a small business, a lot of times you can listen to the client's needs, you can understand what they're wanting, and then look at some creative options for how you can fulfill that without creating a lot of disruption, and it doesn't have to throw off the business. Now, I am not saying that we should change how we do everything for every single person, because even in a small business, that's not really sustainable. But for example, I had a client come to me recently and she said, I feel like I'm overwhelmed because I'm learning so many new things so fast, and I'm not sure I'm not even sure what I need to ask when you do your Q&A sessions. And so I thought about it and I thought, okay, there's gotta be an easy solution for this. So at the time, they were submitting questions to me, and then I would do a live stream into our Facebook group and answer their questions. And I thought, well, we could do it on Zoom, and that way we can kind of converse and I can draw out the questions. And the cool thing was, it wasn't just beneficial for her, it's beneficial for all of the clients in my lab. They are all loving it. So that ability to be able to course correct and make little adjustments is easier, and it helps us to meet the client's needs so much better. My 4th advantage for small business is that it's easier to pivot direction when you need to. In a big company, every change that you make has to be thought through. Like, how is this change in marketing, how is this going to affect sales? How many people will be involved in this change? And when it's a small business, literally you could sit down on your Monday meeting with your team and say, hey guys, this doesn't seem to be going well. What could we change and what could we adjust? And by the end of that meeting, or maybe by the end of that day, everybody on your team could pretty much be aware of a little adjustment you're making. Now, obviously, if it's a bigger change or a bigger adjustment, you're gonna put more into that, but it is a lot easier for us to pivot directions, which is so important in times like we've been having in 2020 and in 2021, where it's really unprecedented waters. Big companies don't have the ability to make little course corrections like we do. We are perfectly positioned to come out of this pandemic even stronger than we were when we came into it, if we're willing to make those adjustments. 5th benefit to being a small business owner is cost control. You do not have the overhead that your bigger business counterparts do, and you have more of an ability to look in and say, cut this, increase that. Let's stop this, let's spend more here. So you have a lot more ability to control your costs, which allows you to be able to adjust if things adjust in the market around you. That is one of the things that I love about being a small business owner, because we have had seasons where there's a lot going on in the business and a lot of money moving through the business, and we can scale our expenses to kind of meet the demands. And if there's a slow time in the business, we can still stay profitable because we have the ability to kind of pause or cut or decrease some costs in order to allow us to stay profitable. That's awesome, you guys. I hope you can really wrap your brain around the benefits of being able to control your costs. And if you want to know more about cutting costs in business, go ahead and click my video so you can watch how to cut your costs in business. My 6th, and if I'm being honest, most favorite of all advantages to being a small business owner is that you actually can see the reward of your efforts so much more quickly. I love this about working with small business owners. When I help a small business owner get their sales and their marketing strategy dialed in, they can double their sales within 12 months. Do you know how hard it is for a big company to double their sales within 12 months? When you make one positive change within a couple of months or even weeks or sometimes days, you can see the benefits of that result. That is not the case in larger organizations. It takes time before you see the results of what you've done. And this is so fun and exciting. The other thing that I love about it is every time you create a great result with a small business owner, you know that directly translate into their family, into their lifestyle, into the things that they really truly want. So it's really rewarding to be able to do that work and see the results right away. So let's review. There are a lot of challenges to being a small business owner, and there are some areas where you're just gonna not be able to compete with the big guys. And we will lose if we try. That's the other thing I want you to understand. You'll never out-advertise them. You're never going to have a better branding package than they are. You're never gonna have better marketing assets. What you can do though is focus on the areas that they cannot compete with you. Lead from that, educate your clients and your prospective team members on that so that they will understand very clearly why working with you is the best thing that they could do. If you would like more help with your sales and marketing strategy, I would love for you to take our Sales and Marketing GPS. If you know where you are and you know where you want to go, we can help you build the strategy and the step-by-step plan to get you there. So click the link below and you can go ahead. It takes you about 10 minutes and you're going to get an 8-page business improvement plan, plus an opportunity to discuss it with a real human and get your questions answered. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. Also, leave us a comment. And if you are looking for a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, head on over to our private Facebook group, Acquire. I would love to see you over there.